Hello, my name is Donna Whitley. Today, my topic is Americans with Disabilities Act, or the ADA. The Americans with Disability Act is a civil rights law that prohibits discrimination against individuals with disabilities in all areas of public life, including transportation, schools, jobs, and all public or private places that are open to the general public. The purpose of the law is to make sure that people with disabilities have the same rights and opportunities as everyone else. The history of the ADA began a long time ago in cities and towns throughout the United States when people with disabilities began to challenge society that excluded them from their communities, and when parents of children with disabilities began to fight against the exclusion and segregation of their children. It began also with the soldiers when they come home from the wars where they lost limbs or they lost their eyesight, or any kind of disability that kept them from being employed. Disability rights movement, which adapted many of the strategies that the civil rights movement had, such as the sit-ins in public offices or the protest. It made the American public and politicians more aware of the injustices that were faced by people with disabilities. The ADA is divided into 5 titles or sections in the different areas of public life. The first title is Title I, Employment, and it helps people with disabilities have access to the same employment opportunities and benefits available to people without disabilities. And it applies to employers with 15 or more employees, and it requires employers to have reasonable accommodations to qualified employees or applicants. And a reasonable accommodation is a change that accommodates employees with disabilities without causing too much difficulties or too much expense to the employer. Title II is the public services that are state and local government. One of the regulations is it requires public entities to make their programs, services, and activities accessible to individuals with disabilities. Title III is public accommodations and services operated by private entities, and it prohibits places of public accommodations from discriminating against individuals with disabilities. Public accommodations include privately owned or leased facilities such as hotels, restaurants, retail stores, golf courses, daycares, private schools, movie theaters, and the list goes on. It directs businesses to make reasonable modifications to their usual way of doing things when serving people with disabilities, such as Walmart provides wheelchairs, carts, motorized carts, and then there's handrails and bathrooms that have wheelchair accessibility. Title IV is telecommunications, and one of the requirements in Title IV is that it requires closed captioning of federally funded public service announcements. And Title V is miscellaneous provisions. It contains a variety of provisions related to the ADA as a whole, including its relationship to other laws, and it also provides a list of certain conditions that are not to be considered as disabilities. In 1990, President George Bush signed the Americans with Disabilities Act. In his speech, he said, "This act is powerful in its simplicity. It will ensure that people with disabilities are given the basic guarantees for which they have worked so long and so hard for." In our textbook, the ADA focuses mainly on Title I, Employment. It gives us pre-employment questions that an employer is not allowed to ask, such as, how many days did you miss because you were sick last year? And it tells us we should ask, can you meet the attendance requirements for this job? And lastly, the ADA has a national network that provides information, guidance, and training on the Americans with Disability Acts for employers. Thank you.